The world watched with bated breath as Donald Trump once again ascended to the presidency of the United States. His return to the highest office in the land was met with a mixture of shock, curiosity, and trepidation. The global community, still reeling from the aftershocks of his first term, braced itself for what was to come. His victory sent shockwaves across the globe, raising questions about the future of international relations and the global order. The reactions were varied. Some celebrated the return of a leader who promised to shake things up, while others feared the potential for increased instability and unpredictability. From the halls of power in Europe to the bustling streets of Asia, the implications of Trump's return were debated, with a mixture of anxiety and anticipation. Political analysts and commentators dissected every aspect of his campaign and victory, trying to predict how his policies might impact their regions. Trump's previous tenure in the White House was marked by a departure from traditional American foreign policy. His unconventional approach often left both allies and adversaries guessing as he dismantled long-standing agreements and forged new, sometimes controversial, alliances. His America First agenda prioritized American interests above all else, often putting him at odds with long-standing allies and established norms. This approach led to a series of trade wars, renegotiated treaties, and a general sense of unpredictability in international relations. His unpredictable style and penchant for disruptive diplomacy left many world leaders unsure of where America stood on the world stage. The traditional rules of engagement seemed to no longer apply, and this created a sense of unease among global leaders. Now, with Trump back in the Oval Office, the world is left to wonder what his second act will bring. Will he double down on his previous policies, or will he chart a new course? The uncertainty is palpable, and the stakes are higher than ever. Will he continue to challenge the established order, or will he adopt a more pragmatic approach? The world watches closely, as every move he makes could have far-reaching consequences. The answer to this question will have profound consequences for the future of global politics and security. The international community is on edge, waiting to see how Trump's policies will shape the geopolitical landscape. Trump's return to power comes at a time of heightened global tension. The world is already grappling with numerous crises, and his leadership will undoubtedly influence how these situations evolve. The war in Ukraine has shattered the peace in Europe, while China's growing assertiveness is challenging American dominance in the Asia-Pacific. These are just a few of the critical issues that Trump will have to navigate in his second term. In this volatile environment, Trump's actions will be scrutinized more closely than ever before. Every decision, every statement, and every policy will be analyzed for its potential impact on the delicate balance of global power. The world holds its breath, waiting to see what the future holds under Trump's renewed leadership. Amidst the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, Donald Trump has put forth a bold and controversial proposal, an 800-mile buffer zone within Ukrainian territory. This proposal aims to create a significant demilitarized area that would act as a physical and symbolic barrier between the warring factions. This proposed zone, intended to serve as a demilitarized area between Russian and Ukrainian forces, has ignited fierce debate and raised concerns about its feasibility and potential consequences. The international community is divided, with some seeing it as a potential path to peace, while others view it as an impractical and risky endeavor. The concept of a buffer zone is not new to international relations. Throughout history, buffer zones have been used as a means to de-escalate conflicts and provide a temporary solution to ongoing hostilities. Historically, such zones have been established in various conflict zones around the world, often with mixed results. Some have succeeded in reducing violence and fostering dialogue, while others have failed, leading to further complications and prolonged conflicts. Proponents of Trump's proposal argue that an 800-mile buffer zone could provide a much-needed respite from the violence in Ukraine, creating space for dialogue and a negotiated settlement. They believe that this buffer zone could serve as a foundation for a more comprehensive peace agreement. However, critics argue that such a plan would be extremely difficult to implement and sustain. The logistical challenges alone are daunting, not to mention the political and military complexities involved. Establishing and monitoring a zone of this magnitude would require significant resources and international cooperation, something that has been in short supply throughout the conflict. The success of such an initiative would depend heavily on the commitment and coordination of multiple nations and international organizations. Moreover, there are concerns that a buffer zone could effectively reward Russia for its aggression, potentially emboldening other revisionist powers. Critics fear that this could set a dangerous precedent, encouraging other nations to pursue aggressive actions in hopes of achieving similar concessions. The success or failure of Trump's proposal hinges on a multitude of factors, including the willingness of both Russia and Ukraine to engage in good faith negotiations. Without genuine commitment from both sides, the buffer zone could quickly become another flashpoint in the conflict. It also remains to be seen whether the international community, particularly European powers, would support such a plan and commit the necessary resources to make it viable. The involvement of key international players is crucial for the success of any peace initiative in Ukraine. Beyond the political and military aspects, the humanitarian implications of the buffer zone proposal are significant. Proponents argue that it could provide a safe haven for civilians caught in the crossfire, allowing for the delivery of much-needed aid and the rebuilding of war-torn communities. Critics, however, caution that the creation of a buffer zone could lead to further displacement and suffering if not managed properly. The potential for unintended consequences is high, and the stakes for the people of Ukraine are enormous. As the debate continues, the world watches closely, hoping for a resolution that will bring lasting peace to Ukraine. Whether Trump's bold proposal will be the key to ending the conflict or just another chapter in a long and complicated saga remains to be seen. Trump's proposal for an 800-mile buffer zone in Ukraine has sent shockwaves through Europe, exposing deep divisions within the transatlantic alliance. This proposal, seen by many as a bold and controversial move, has brought to the forefront the varying perspectives and priorities of European nations. European nations, already grappling with the consequences of the war on their doorstep, find themselves caught between their commitment to Ukrainian sovereignty and the potential for a negotiated settlement that could bring an end to the bloodshed. The war has not only strained resources but also tested the resilience and unity of the European Union as member states navigate the complex geopolitical landscape. Some European leaders, wary of further escalation and eager for a resolution to the conflict, have expressed cautious openness to exploring the possibility of a buffer zone. They believe that a buffer zone could serve as a temporary measure to de-escalate tensions and create a space for more comprehensive peace talks. They argue that all options, even unconventional ones, should be considered in the pursuit of peace. The idea is that by thinking outside the box, new pathways to a lasting resolution might be discovered, even if these ideas initially seem radical or unorthodox. However, this stance has been met with fierce opposition from other European capitals. Critics argue that such a proposal could undermine the very principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity that the international community has long upheld. Those opposed to Trump's proposal view it as a dangerous concession to Russian aggression, fearing that it would set a dangerous precedent for future conflicts. They worry that acquiescing to Russia's demands could embolden other nations with expansionist ambitions, thereby destabilizing global security. They argue that rewarding Russia for its actions would only embolden Putin and undermine the rules-based international order. This perspective is rooted in a deep-seated fear that compromising on Ukraine could lead to further territorial disputes and conflicts in other regions. This division within Europe poses a significant challenge for the United States as it seeks to maintain unity within the transatlantic alliance. The US has historically played a pivotal role in fostering cooperation and solidarity among its European allies, but the current discord threatens to weaken these bonds. Trump's America First approach to foreign policy has already strained relations with some European allies, who view his transactional approach with suspicion. His focus on immediate national interests over long-term alliances has led to a sense of unpredictability and mistrust among traditional partners. His willingness to consider a plan that could potentially undermine Ukrainian sovereignty without their full consultation has further exacerbated these tensions. European leaders are concerned that such unilateral decisions could erode the collaborative spirit that has been the cornerstone of transatlantic relations for decades. The future of US-European alliances hangs in the balance as both sides navigate these turbulent waters, seeking a path that upholds their shared values and mutual interests. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, the cornerstone of Western security for decades, finds itself at a critical juncture as Donald Trump returns to the world stage. Trump's past criticisms of the alliance, his questioning of its relevance in the 21st century, and his transactional approach to security have left many wondering about the future of NATO under his leadership. The alliance, formed in the aftermath of World War II to counter the Soviet Union, has faced numerous challenges throughout its history. However, the current geopolitical landscape, marked by the return of great power competition and the resurgence of authoritarianism, presents a unique set of challenges for NATO to navigate. Trump's proposal for an 800-mile buffer zone in Ukraine has further exposed the divisions within the alliance. While some member states see it as a potential path to de-escalation, others view it as a dangerous concession to Russia that would undermine NATO's credibility and weaken its deterrent capabilities. The future of NATO under Trump's leadership remains uncertain. Will he continue to push for increased burden sharing among member states, or will he revert to his previous skepticism of the alliance's value? The answer to this question will have profound implications for the future of European security and the transatlantic partnership.